YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel on the web for all things geeky and cool. And welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to a brand new Funko review. Now, this Funko review is completely different than any Funko review I've done on my channel ever. And we have to really take a step back in time, in the past, if you will, because there's a lot to really digest and unpack with this particular pop. Of course, we're talking about pop number 389, the Galactic Convention 2020 Concept Series Darth Vader. Now, you may look at this pop and go to yourself, well, look, this doesn't look like Darth Vader. This is just, you know, who cares? It's Vader. It's another variant pop. There's so many out there. It means nothing. I disagree. Mainly because this particular version of Darth Vader is the concept of what Darth Vader was interpreted by when George Lucas commissioned Ralph McQuarrie's drawings, which basically Ralph McQuarrie was an artist and painter and sculptor who basically built a lot of the George Lucas Star Wars based items or props or concepts or interpretations from George Lucas, that time a very young filmmaker. So what basically happens, Ralph McQuarrie took George Lucas's information, made a very important and very prominent Darth Vader art print. We'll put it on the screen for you right now so you can see what it looks like. That was the real interpretation of Darth Vader fighting a character called Starkiller, which would be turned into Luke Skywalker later on through multiple draft treatments. But Darth Vader sort of had this look and feel, even though we know what Vader looks like now, it was changed and manipulated, but that's the sort of concept that Lucas was going for. And what Lucas did is he took Ralph McQuarrie's drawings and approached multiple movie houses to try to get his rights to Star Wars purchased. Of course, 20th Century Fox, we know that did pick up Star Wars, we well know that by now. That's who, I don't know if it was his first person he approached or one of the last companies he approached, but he was turned down by many, many companies. But of course, 20th Century Fox bought the rights to Star Wars. And this is a very, very cool pop. I think it's very, very neat. It takes, like I said, back in the late 70s, when Star Wars, of course, happened, which I think was 77, this is a snapshot in time of Ralph McQuarrie kind of interpreted George Lucas's telling of Star Wars, in this case, Darth Vader. And we'll do all this stuff in the breakdown segment. Speaking of breakdowns, we'll do a full breakdown of this pop. We'll look at packaging as a whole. We'll look at paint and articulation and conclude final thoughts for you, the viewer. Should you shell out the money and pick up the Concept Series Galactic Convention 2020's pop number 389 Concept Darth Vader. That being said, guys, let's go into a breakdown and take a look at this pop. Alright guys, we're in a breakdown segment looking at the Galactic Convention 2020 Concept Series Darth Vader. And the very first thing we do in a breakdown segment is look at the packaging and presentation. Again, this is your traditional Funko box we've seen before. Up here we have the pop symbol. We have Star Wars number 389. A nice window box, a nice shot of Vader right here, what he would look like out of packaging. The all-important Galactic Convention 2020 sticker, which means it's an exclusive. I happen to get this one at GameStop, and I think it is a GameStop exclusive, but they don't have the GameStop exclusive sticker here on the packaging. I'm assuming it's only at GameStop, but I could be wrong there. At the bottom, it does say Concept Series Darth Vader. Over here, we have a shot of what Vader looks like out of packaging. Pop logo here. This orange sort of backdrop, and it says the number right there and Darth Vader, number 389. Over here, it says Concept Series Darth Vader. And the back of the packaging is very, very important. I want to kind of focus your attention on that because you have pops here, Star Wars, again, that orange background, number 389, a shot of Vader, but all the Funko characters are available in that wave. You had, of course, at the top here, I believe, yep, it was Starkiller, which was basically the original concept character of the main hero, changed to Luke Skywalker. You have, of course, here Chewbacca, which is the way he was supposed to be designed by Ralph McQuarrie and George Lucas. Down over here, you have Boba Fett, which was kind of sort of a fancy stormtrooper, and then they made more with Fett, but this is kind of the way he looked. He had the white suit with this weird gray apparatus in his mouth, like in the top portion of his helmet, looks a little bit different. And of course, Vader right here. And that artwork which you talked about right here is a shot of where they took liberty from the artwork to make this pop. Let's put him on the spinner again so you can get a full look at the way he looks. Great pop, great interpretation from the drawing from Ralph McQuarrie into vinyl figure form. Love this pop. Think it's very, very cool. If you're a Vader fan, absolutely pick this pop up. It's very, very neat, and there's a lot more to talk about when we get this guy out of packaging. And with that being said, let's get this guy out of packaging and continue the breakdown segment. Alright guys, we have a Galactic Convention 2020 concept series Darth Vader out of packaging. And the next step in the breakdown segment, we take a pop out of packaging is look at the paint and articulation. First thing you might be asking yourself is he doesn't really have Vader's look and feel as far as the color goes. There's a lot of pieces that look like Vader, but he's not Vader. And that's because this again was an interpretation from the artist, from George Lucas, what he wanted the artist, against Ralph McQuarrie, to draw on paper for his vision. They basically tweaked this design that you see here to make our traditional Vader. Now let me stop it so you can see what I'm talking about. The helmet looks very similar to Vader's, but there's again some differences to it. It looks more like a samurai helmet or Bushido helmet for a samurai. The color again is this light bluish black wash. It doesn't look again like Vader's color. It's not jet black. We'll do a comparison in a second with another Vader pop so you can see what I'm talking about, a traditional Vader pop. The face mask is very similar to Vader's right here, the triangular breathing mask. The lightsaber is completely different. This looks more like a broadsword than a lightsaber blade that we're used to. It's much thicker than your traditional lightsaber, which is again liberated from Ralph McQuarrie's drawings. The bottom, he looks more like he's armored on his legs, a little bit different than we've seen for Vader before, and he is sporting, of course, that traditional base we've seen for Funko. He does not come off the base, he is stuck on it. That is by design. Now let's bring a normal Vader in. This is from Rogue One, a GameStop Vader, so you can see what I'm talking about. The other issue I had for him, we'll talk about that second, is the head. The head's very, very janky. We'll talk about that momentarily. You might be saying to yourself, what's going on with that head, Rook? I'll talk about that shortly. But I want you to kind of see what I'm talking about here, where they look very, very similar, but there's a lot of differences between the concept and the real execution of Vader. Again, the all-solid black Vader that we've seen before compared to this light kind of metallic bluish black Vader for the concept series. I do think they look great. Of course, the Vader here is a hand-choking Vader. We've seen him doing that in the Star Wars movies before, but I want you to see a little bit differences between both pops. I want you to kind of just get the realization of what the concept was to the final execution of Vader. There's a lot of similarities from this that was brought over to the traditional Vader we've seen before. I mean, even if you look here at the center boxes for the chest breathing apparatuses, there is a lot of similarities between the two. Again, they're not 100%, but again, similarities between both concept and the final rendition of Vader. I think it looks very, very good what they took from Ralph McQuarrie's sketches to make the final Vader. Now, I mentioned before the head. The head is very, very janky, and I think this is just a quality control issue. The spring is a bit messed up. I tried to bend it back into position. Before you purchase this pop for yourself, take a look at the pop, take it out of the package, make sure the spring isn't messed up, and the lightsaber. I've seen many of those lightsabers that are bent or crooked in the packaging, and it's very difficult to try to re-bend it back straight. Luckily, this one was straight in packaging. Again, quality control, which I think why the spring is messed up, at least on this one. But all in all, it's a great pop. Highly recommend it. And with that being said, let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. Okay, final thoughts on the Galactic Convention 2020 Darth Vader concept series. Should you buy this pop? Well, you have to answer a couple questions if you want to purchase it for yourself. First is the price point. Again, $15 US. It is a convention exclusive. Got them at GameStop. You might be able to buy it for that same sort of price if you go to your local GameStops. Hopefully, you won't spend any more for that on the secondary market, Amazon, eBay. Hopefully, they'll charge you an arm and a leg for this pop. Next, of course, do you like Star Wars? Do you like Darth Vader? Do you like the Ralph McQuarrie artwork basically visualize and turn into a Funko Pop? I think it's very, very cool what they did, what people at Funko did to take these sketches from Ralph McQuarrie's did for George Lucas back in the late 70s and make it in vinyl figure form. It looks just like those drawings. Again, the color for Vader looks a little bit different than what we've seen before, the darker black Vader compared to the sort of like a cobalt or like a lightish blue tint to this Vader. We talked about that in the breakdown. The lightsaber he has here is much more thick. It looks like more of a broadsword. He has more of a samurai-esque look to him. Again, the quality control for the head's a bit janky here. This might be just mine. Your mileage may vary. Basically, take a look at your Vader before you purchase it. Take it out of the box. Make sure it looks straight. I might be able to adjust the spring a little bit. I was playing around with it, trying to fix it. It is a bit janky, but that is bobbleheads. I'm not a big fan of that perspective of Funko. I don't like it, but that is what it is. But I do like this pop. I think it's well worth the money. Again, 15 bucks US. I wouldn't go any more than that on this pop. I think it's an excellent pop. If you're a Star Wars fan, if you like that old style Ralph McQuarrie brought to the table in vinyl figure form, you absolutely should buy this pop. I do hope you like this video. Remember to click the like button at the bottom of the page. Click the subscribe button with a picture of my face. When you subscribe to the channel, click the bell, kind of be notified of my latest videos. And of course, last but not least, you can click Windows over here to watch more of my content. Take care, guys. See you next video. And bye-bye.